Miss Eudora, and I'm showing you a famous painting called Wind from the Sea by Andrew Wyeth. Now you can see the beautiful gossamer curtains flowing through. I can almost smell the ocean air. It's so beautiful, and he uses a very limited palette. That means he doesn't use a lot of different colors. Now you can see this is a self-portrait, believe it or not. Yep, it's of himself, the artist, wearing his boots. He calls it trodden weed. I guess he was stepping on weeds. Now, this painting is Christina's World. It's really beautiful and something's really special about it. The girl was his neighbor and she couldn't walk. And so she would crawl everywhere with her upper arms. She didn't like being in a wheelchair. In this painting, he does a lovely job of making her look triumphant, I think, and hopeful, and not someone to be pitied. They estimate this painting is worth between 100 million and 150 million bucks. That's right. Okay, so we're looking at value. Before we start, you're going to make your own value gradient. So you can see I have 3 already. I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to take my white colored pencil, start on the left side, and I'm going to apply as much pressure as I can with my white colored pencil. Now I'm going to start dragging it across my black paper, but I'm loosening and letting up on the pressure that I'm applying. So it's going to get lighter as I'm moving my right hand away and across. You can see the gradient change from this to that. So is this as hard as I can press? So I'm going to know that when I'm drawing my mushroom, the areas that are going to be most white will be the most pressure I apply. And then the areas that are shaded or not as much light, they're going to be very limited pressure. That's my value. And I know with my mushroom, that's going to be my range. Now, if you want to practice that more, you can. Right now, we're going to make the mushroom. Making a curved line up and over. Now notice I put it a little bit of a diagonal, so it wasn't straight across. This side's a little higher up than that. Okay, now I'm going to have a kind of wonky line, curves up to here. And now I'm going to have another line that goes in some. It's like a little flap. And then it's going to have very ruffly kind of look and back in. Now I'm going to make a stem. One line comes down. I want about this distance. I still want to have a lot of the mushroom cap around it. So I have to decide, go down. So I curved a bit. I'm going to make it a little bit thinner at the top. And then it's going to come down and around. So that's kind of the shape of the mushroom. Now I need a line from here, and it's going to curve to there. Now you can't see that line now. The stem is covering it, and then it curves. So that's the top part of the mushroom cap. We need a ring. I think they call it a ring on a mushroom. Mine's sloped a little bit upward from left to right. And it's below this line. Now, I've got a swoopy line, goes like that. And then a line that curves down like that. We're going to meet them in the middle by a wave. Wavy line. Something like that, like a tutu. Okay, so for now, we're going to start on this part. I want my widest area to be in this vicinity. So I'm going to start over here, applying as much pressure as I can, but I'm not going up and down, up and down. And then I'm going to overlap. Overlapping means I am going to, wherever I stop, I'm then going to go further and overlap on top of that to blend them together so it's not so streaky. Okay, I want to make sure I have a few of these spores, so I'm going to leave one here, one here. Make them a little bit bigger than you might want them. One here. I just added 3. I'm going to add maybe 2 here. 1, 2. All right, so now I'm going to add my whitest, applying the most pressure over here. And a little bit of streak so there'll be variation in my image. And I'm always thinking I'm coming from here, over, over, over. I want it to look rounded. So it matters the direction of my stroke. Now I'm not going all the way to that line. It's going to curve in, value is going to be different. That's why I'm not going all the way to here. It's going to start getting lighter. That means I start applying less pressure. I can scrumble, which means I just go in a circular motion back and forth. Now I'm going up and down, not applying as much pressure as I had. And you can see once again we've got the value scale like we did here. More white, applying more pressure, overlapping these two, and I can scrumble. Scrumbling blends them together, but they look seamless. Okay, so now I'm going to make little hatch lines, just little curves, just where it looks like the mushroom's movement is going in on this side towards the stem. And then I can go softer. To this edge. I know this side is darker. Want it to look like it's curving inward. Now, I'm going a circular motion so it doesn't look like a sharp edge. Keep looking back to make sure you're not going too dark. Now I want this to be whiter. whitest. Now, the more white the exterior is of a dark area, the more dark it will look, right? Now, sharpen your pencil, and you're going to make very fine lines in this small area, and they're going to be a bit wavy, and they're going to kind of slope towards the stem. These are the gills. I don't know why my stomach's growling. Don't know. Now I'm going forward, straight up and down, straight up and down. Now they're going to start moving out again from the stem. Now I'm going to make this kind of curve. It's like a little flap. And I'm creating visual interest. And I'm going to move my lines out again. So those are called gills. I have some that kind of are flipping outward. I'm going to make it wider, almost like maybe the light's hitting it. So if I'm going to show a darker area, I'm going to make the lighter area around it. Okay, we'll revisit that. Let's go on to the gills this direction. Need to have a fairly sharp pencil. They're coming out. Pretend like they're coming from here, 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 here. Okay, and their flow. They're kind of pretty. Same. Now they're flowing out this way. Okay. So we have that. I'm going to finish this area. Okay, so now we're going to go on to here. This is darker. I'm sorry, I'm applying more pressure. It's whiter. And you'll get better and better as you learn how much pressure to apply. And now I'm going to have a swoop out. This is going to be really white. And now I'm going to have a swoop right there. Light is hitting kind of here. And then less light and less light. These areas are going to be darker. Now we're going to come along. This is going to be fairly white. And then I'm going to lessen up. I want this to be darker, so I'm not going to apply as much. Now, add a little bit of white here. And now a little bit less pressure. Want it to look gossamer. You can kind of faintly see through it. And I'm going to add a little bit there, and then I'm going to keep this fairly dark on this side. Fun. Okay. Now I'm going to try to make some wider areas in these gills. And a little bit of white here. How fun. Okay. I want to add a little bit of white there because I want to see the difference between this part and the stem. Okay, so now we are going to make some fun little roots. They just quickly whiskers. How thick? How long? Are they straighter? Are they going up? Notice how some start here and not very yet. Okay, so there's some of those. I could make some a little bit thicker towards where that attaches. Okay, now I'm going to use a dark brown. I'm going to add some definition. Create a darker area within these. I'm also going to add some darker underneath where the shadow is. You have to decide how much pressure. Going up and down. Applying some in a circular motion closer to the bottom. I'm going to add some on this side. And I'm going at a curved angle. Add a little bit to the root of some of them. Now, I'm going to add a little bit of regular brown. Just kind of put some in for a touch of visual interest. Very light. Kind of in these darker areas I'm scrumbling. And then I'm doing it very light here and very light here. Okay, so now I am going to add a little bit of variation with my white here. I'm just going to softly go over this with my value. I want it to look a little less, I want to blend a little bit. A little bit more white and okay. So just keep looking back, look at your reference, which is the photo of the mushroom. Now, last thing is I'm going to add some white here, here, here. It's really hard to see. Okay, let's see. Maybe with this one. And if it's not doing what I want, I could just make it darker again. Now maybe add white.